We should be live, ladies and gents. It is the 25th of May already. Man, how's the time go by so fast? But here we are. We've talked NBA playoffs already. We're going to be talking a little MLB DFS and what can only be described as a massive slate with some really, really legit pitching options on it.
Crazy deep pitching slate today. A bunch of games, bunch of good pitchers. So, it's really the type of day where you play who you want.
I wouldn't agree anymore. Kind of got some sleeper stacks that we're feeling a little bit well to go with the pitchers. And let's kind of get into it, guys. Before we do so, we are going to be running our daily Drafters Draft at 1:30 p.m. Central today. Welcome to the group, Sims, Jones, Jason, Brandon, the other guys who've started playing with us recently. Glad to have you aboard. We probably won't get anybody from today's show to come play with us because by the time the video comes out, the draft will be starting. But we're doing this most days, and we'll try to make some videos on these moving forward. I know we had some customers on last week when we talked about it. We'll do a little bit more of that moving forward. Best kept secret in the DFS industry, drafters.com. Get in where you fit in. Promo code DFS 5-pack.
Yeah, can't wait to get one in 45 minutes here.
Yeah, we're going to have to double up on pitchers today, though, with so many good options.
Oh, for sure, dude.
All right, guys. Monthly and weekly memberships get both sports as we rock the NBA playoffs and crush this MLB DFS thing. Thank you to the kind words on the Vaughn and Avi Garcia picks yesterday. We'll try to keep it up for today. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. Let's talk about pitchers. And quite frankly, there's some good ones up top today, but the price tag of Kevin Gausman just stands out. Only $7,200. Seems like DraftKings is drunk again.
Yeah, I mean, all you really need to do is look at the price tag and the fantasy points per game and realize that this is messed up, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand it. He should be at least 8K, but closer to 9K probably. He is a legit Cy Young candidate in the NL right now. And I know he had some hiccups in his career early on, but like everybody has hiccups in Baltimore. They suck. It's a terrible franchise. This is San Francisco. They do good things for pitchers. He's resurrected his career. He's one of the best pitchers in the game right now, and he's only 7,200 in a plus matchup.
So, okay, I don't disagree with you, but I'm going to ask you, like, where would you put him on the list? Like, do you think if you were listing like the top starting pitchers in baseball, do you think he's 5th, 10th, 20th, like around where? And before you answer, I don't have a good answer for you on that right
now. I think numbers-wise, if you looked at him, he'd probably be higher, but I would still struggle to put him in like in the top 15 or anything like that, but 15 to 25?
Right, because we know who he is, right? And like this is the best he's ever pitched. That said, like it's not crazy to see guys, have stretches in their careers where they're really good. I don't expect this to be like Kevin Gausman for the next 5 years. But right now, I think we ride it. He's way too cheap. You said he should be at least 8K. I mentioned it on the members only video. I mean, the way he's pitching is like a 10K pitcher. So you're right. He's just way too cheap. And it's not like he's in a bad spot at all here.
No, I got him in our drafters draft like a week or two ago. And it was one of those things you talk about, you do those. It really lets you hone in on who it is exactly you like without taking the price tag in your mind a little bit. And like I got him as like the 5th or 6th pitcher that day. And I think it was because the game started early and not a lot of people had evaluated him for the day because he wasn't on the DK slate. And I was like, I just thought it was the steal of the draft. And I just felt like he fell to me because people still aren't 100% buying in. But he was good last year too, wasn't he?
He was good last year. Okay, let me ask you a part 2 of my question. On drafters today, like where are you taking Gausman overall? Like, around. I mean, I don't need an exact, but you know what I mean? Like, are you taking him before Max Scherzer?
No, I think I'd probably take him 4th after Burns, Scherzer, DeGrom.
What about Flaherty?
But like right there, I was just going to say Jack Flaherty. Like I'd probably take him above Jack Flaherty today because they're pitching about the same this year. I mean, Gausman's numbers are better than Flaherty's, but I think we all consider Flaherty a better pitcher.
Yeah.
But Gausman's in the better matchup. Arizona's offense is mediocre at best.
Yeah, I have no arguments with that. Interesting to see, him or Giolito.
I pick him. I trust him more right now than I do Giolito, but I'd say Giolito's upside is right up there.
Okay, last one. Him or Musgrove?
Again, Musgrove's got the monster start, so maybe he's got higher upside. I like the matchup for Musgrove, but the Brewers are all of a sudden playing good baseball again. I'd probably go Gausman.
I think it's real close there.
Yeah, I think I trust the floor of Gausman above Musgrove's. but Musgrove's got a couple of starts this year where his ceiling is right up there with the best in the game.
For sure.
So it depends what you play. Like, you're a ceiling guy, and I'm sometimes a floor guy. Not that we don't see it the same way from time to time, but Musgrove's a little bit all over the place. Like, if Musgrove has 40 today, not surprised. If Musgrove has 14 today, not surprised.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, let's keep on moving down the list. Let's start talking about cash game hitters, and let's go right back to a guy I think we mentioned like a week ago, a different day when the Twins were chalking. That's Luis Arias. Should absolutely make the lineup again today with a bunch of the Minnesota Twins being day-to-day at best. He's dirt cheap. He comes in today as the highest projected hitter on the slate. And I think the most important thing here is Dean Kremer gets creamed. So you're going to want some Minnesota exposure. He's really, really inexpensive with dual eligibility. They're in a great spot on paper. And they're going to be one of the highest-owned offenses on the day, and this might be the highest-owned hitter of the day.
Yeah, I mean, listen, 3,200 probably leading off. Cog in the machine type. I'm an Arias fan. He's not the greatest fantasy player, but talked about it before. Could easily bat 5 times in this spot. A ton to like here.
Yeah, I think he's a better cash game player than GPP because I don't expect him to like break the slate. This is not a guy who's going to double dong and steal a base.
No, very, very rarely. I'll say that.
All right, next up, BC, Brandon Crawford. I don't think most people, if you asked even your average baseball fan to name 5 of the hitters in baseball with double-digit home runs this year, you know, guys like Vlad and Acuna would roll off the tongue. I would be willing to bet 95% of people would not get to Brandon Crawford.
I would agree with you there. Listen, I almost feel good about this because it seems like Sam Fran and Brandon Crawford in particular have been pet projects of mine for years. Very rarely have I been able to bring up Brandon Crawford on this show. But, man, he's really shown signs of life from a hitting perspective. It's funny to think that this guy was starting in the World Series like almost 15 years ago as one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball. He has had a really, really good career, especially from a defensive fielding perspective. Hitting hasn't always been there, but as you mentioned, double-digit home runs already, top 5 in the NL in bombs. I like the Giants as a sleeper stack a lot tonight. He's been hitting right in the middle of this lineup. He's shown clearly big power against right-handed pitching this year. Corbin Martin is a guy I want to pick on. I like the Giants quite a bit, and Crawford works. And, I mean, what's he going to be, 5% owned?
There's a couple of Corbins pitching tonight, and the one they're facing is not the good one. So I'm with you. I like the Giants as a sleeper stack tonight. I like them and the team that we're about to bring up next, and I don't think they get a lot of love. And they're not a very sexy group of names. So I understand that, but they're in a good spot tonight. And today's a day, if you look down the breakdown of where the ownership are going, I'm all about being contrarian within the GPP mold today, within the hitting perspective.
The other thing is, like, it's a late game. So, the lineup might not come out until later. It's not like a team people want to go to anyways. Like, if this game were in an East Coast city and it was like the same spot, maybe they'd get a little more love. But that's not the case.
Speaking of East Coast, let's talk about Tampa Bay, which is another sleeper stack tonight. They are not getting a lot of love. I'm going to bring up Manuel Margot for cash games because he's the one who's getting the most attention early in the day. But don't look now, folks. Tampa Bay's won 11 straight games. They are smashing the ball all over the place. They go up against a guy named Brad Keller tonight where, on a different slate, I could get the argument for taking a chance on him. But Keller's not been great this year. He had a couple of decent seasons to start the year, but he's struggled more than he succeeded so far this year. And you get a red-hot Tampa Bay team that's just not getting love from the masses on this one. Margot specifically, only 3,300, coming off 3 straight multi-hit games, a little bit of power, a little bit of speed. I like the whole team today, and they got some cheap guys, and you can even stack them with their 2 expensive hitters because you got all the cheap guys to complement them if you want to go all in right here. Hot's hot in baseball. This team's won 11 straight and has played very well offensively in recent.
Yeah, he's locked in right now, seeing the ball really well. Another guy, just way too cheap. He's a guy with power and speed upside. A lot to like here at a very cheap price point as a one-off or on that Tampa stack you're talking about.
All right, next up, let's go over to the Los Angeles Angels. So the Angels are a team, they're not very sexy when facing lefties right now because you got Mike Trout out for, a month or whatever it's going to be. Knowing Trout, he'll probably be back tomorrow, but I'm just kidding. But with Ohtani and Walsh and those guys being lefties, it's hard to get excited about the Angels against left-handed pitching. However, Anthony Rendon, while the season hasn't been great, he's been riddled on the IL a couple times, is an elite hitter against left-handed pitching, and they get a weak one tonight.
Yeah, one thing we talk about a lot, we haven't mentioned it recently, and I'm just thinking about it as you're mentioning Rendon. Baseball is a sport where players go through tough times. Some players start off seasons really slowly. Some people, start off red hot. Most of the time, the numbers are what you think they're going to be. They most of the time average out, level out. And I think we see that with Rendon. At the end of the year, I think you're going to see Rendon with close to 30 homers, close to 100 RBIs, hitting close to 300. Hasn't had the greatest start to the year, but I'm a huge Rendon fan. He's got big-time upset against left-handed pitching. I mentioned it on the members-only video. I think this Yang has a blow-up start coming. I like the Angels today with Rendon far and away my top piece at, like you mentioned, a very affordable $4,400 price tag. Walked 2 times in his last game. Getting excited talking about it.
Like, he'll be the highest owned Angel in my opinion, but even he won't be like overwhelmingly popular. Like, I could picture him coming in 10%, right? Because he's cheap and he's got a big name and everybody knows he hits lefties. But the rest of that Angel stack will not be owned, which keeps his ownership down because nobody else wants to go there. So even he is the most popular Angel, still going to be, no, I wouldn't think any more than 15 and maybe as low as 5.
I agree with that. Like, I think around 10, but I would take 5 over 15.
Yeah, he's very cheap for his name recognition, which is why he will get attention. And he doesn't have he's not going against a strong pitcher. And this slate is riddled with strong pitchers. So there's 12 to 15 teams you basically cross off and don't really look at very closely. So still, won't be chalk though.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he is projected for about 15. So he's definitely going to be the highest owned Angel hitter for sure.
Like for you, and this is just to get a little bit of a look inside of that crazy brain over there. If he was 5,400, you'd probably like him better because then he'd be 1% owned.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even notice his price. Like, I wasn't even bringing him up because of his price. I'm bringing him up because I love the spot. Now that we're full disclosure, I don't like that he's so cheap. You're 100% right about that.
It's an interesting way to think about it, and it really is mostly applicable to baseball.
Price doesn't matter. You're not looking for that 5x value or whatever. It just doesn't matter. Price, it's just it's so much different in baseball than it is other sports.
Well, yeah, because you can be take a look at some of the 6K guys tonight, like Nelson Cruz, Ronald Acuna, and stuff like that. Like, they can legit get you zeros. Like, the only way Russell Westbrook or Jason Tatum ever gets you a 0 is if they fall down and break their ankle 30 seconds into the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like baseball players only. Yeah, I mean, players get 0 all the time. Look at Tim Anderson last night. He had a bunch of zeros in his game log, and he was still the most popular shortstop.
Yeah, amen, guys. So that is what we got for baseball today. We'll see some of you guys for drafters here in a few minutes, and wish you all the best of luck in both of your sports this evening.
Thanks, guys.